bring that photo with me. They got what I got. As primary next to kin, I got the copy of the excavation report. In that were photos of all the remains, and there were, depending on what document, it's 26 to 31 bone fragments. In the excavation report, again, could only represent one individual, but we have documentation, I think I did bring one of those, that says we are further impaired by the inability, and I think it's almost exact, we are further impaired by the inability to say that any of these bones are of human origin. Isn't that amazing? But all 8 crew members sit upon that gravestone at Arlington National Cemetery, and they didn't DNA test any of them. And I welcome them. I said, please, DNA test them. You're not going to find Matejov family DNA on any of those bones. I would offer that to them. But they don't want to upset. They don't want to upset the other family members because they have received, the casket is closed for them. And I don't want to be the one, you see, can you understand my feelings about that? I don't want to go, if you're one of the other family members, and say, I don't care what you think. We're opening up that sacred casket that you believe has your crew member, your family member's remains in it. It's tough for me to do that.
Yeah, well, that's where you come up and say, hey, we have evidence that there were two.
And you know what I just did? I just recently, the very first time, wrote to one of the other family members. I just recently did, just to see, and it was Lieutenant Severo Prim's sister, I think. And I wrote just to see what she would say. Never got a response back. And I was very gracious, and I said just exactly what she said. I understand you have received closure, and I respect that. Understand why I have not. And I was hoping to draw another family member out just to see, oh yeah, we've all talked, and we hate you. I didn't get any response. I didn't get any, but I have to show some reverence, because if I don't, I'm being obtuse and thinking I want everything my way when there are other factors that I have to consider, because DOD is going to consider that. And I don't think you can find it, and I can't find any regulation that tells them what to do next in this case. If the Secretary of the Air Force reopens the case, they've got a big problem on their hands. And after the end of that presentation in that room, I said to myself, Mr. Lennington, Brigadier General Lachute, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes right now, because that's a tough decision to make. And I don't know if they're legally bound to go one way or the other. That's why I fear they're going to reopen the case, but it's just to placate the Matejov family and the Crescent family. Then they will have done something in enhancing communication with family members as the new DPAA is organized and structured and purported to do. That was in all the speeches. They have done that, haven't they? We'll soon know. That, I think within 6 months we'll have the final. Yes, sir?
Regarding the crew members that had received that KK classification, do you know of a specific number that received that classification?
We don't know, to answer your question, we don't know the names. We know, and I think it reads, and I'd have to reread it, that everybody believes, if anybody believes, there were 4 captured, because the enemy radio message says we have captured 4 air pirates. Only 4 of the 8 crew pistols were found. Do the math. It quantifies into 4. And here's that document, the Torsen document that says that. It says the 4 crew members. That's all it says. So if you use this and the magical number of 4 pistols, the radio message that says 4. Here it is again. It pops up that they said 4 were captured and then died in captivity. How can you do that? This is defense intelligence. This document, that KK status, was held in place until 1979.
Did columnist Jack Anderson write about this case
Yes,
back
and
in
that's how my
70?
family
Radio intercept was.
Okay.
so everybody understands, on the Today Show, way back, columnist Jack Anderson was making it known to the public that the United States government held back information on 4 crew members on an EC-47 that was shot down after the war was over. My parents were in the living room. That's how they found out about it, through the Today Show. Isn't that amazing?
He'd already buried him.
To this day, we already had the funeral. To this day, we do not know how columnist Jack Anderson got that information. He is passed on. The archaeologist who signed up, we checked, he is passed on. Colonel Humphreys, the man who said we will keep your son's status and MIA status until he has passed on. Only Bob the Stat, who 3.5 hours, that journalist, if you have a copy of that, he talked to Bob the Stat for 3.5 hours. Now, the journalist said to me, John, do you know anybody that's going to roll over? And why? And I said, no, I don't know anybody by name, but I do know when Henry Kissinger dies, that's when I'd start beating the bushes, because there are people who are still very loyal to Henry Kissinger. And Henry Kissinger, as you know, got the Nobel Peace Prize for peace with honor, while his counterpart from Vietnam, what did he do? He turned down his Nobel Peace Prize. So Henry Kissinger is saying, I did get peace with honor, not with Baron 52 crew members. If you want to believe the thread that I just connected with Nixon in the White House talking to the Watergate conspirators, trying to get Vietnam, quote, out of the way to give you more time. Now, no one wants to touch that. This is the first time I've mentioned that publicly. Because as soon as you go into politics, let's talk about what's going on between Trump and Hillary right now. You roll your eyes, okay? Now, when it comes to Nixon and Watergate in Vietnam, nobody makes that connection. The lawyers didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, and I don't blame them, because we can all, sprinkle our opinion about, was it politically oriented? From the documentation and the quotes that I pulled out of the official file, I go on record as saying, hell yes it was. Because Baron 52 would have screwed up and derailed the entire peace treaty had those four, here we're back to the four, known to be captured and alive in the Laotian hands who were looking for a bargaining chip. They just had to eat crow. They didn't want to sign the peace treaty, but they got to sign it. And then 5 days later, 6 days later, oh, there's 4 more live Americans on an official combat mission after the United States signed a peace treaty. You don't tell me that's not a political hot potato and Kissinger didn't know about it? I mean, that's just not true. So, when Kissinger goes on to his great reward with his Nobel Peace Prize, somebody is going to be getting to a phone. Somebody is going to be contacting somebody where Baron 52 is concerned. And God bless DASD, Dr. Roger Shields. He's following it, everybody's following it just to see what happens, because there's something not right. And it's not just our case. We have other cases that have the same type of controversy associated with it. Are there any other questions? I do want to thank you for your time. I'll apologize for my 52 pages of teleprompting. I didn't have a teleprompter. I had to look down them, and I had bad eyesight. My sisters will tell you I have a hard time reading a lot of things, so I had to do it in big print. I truly appreciate your questions, and you'll be all notified through the Alliance. The Alliance is going to be one of the first organizations. I told the lawyer, those lawyers really did a lot. And I told him I would tell him first.
Yes.
Yeah.
God bless the Lord.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John Matejov and sisters. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate the time and all of the hard work that you did to try and get your brother's case open again. Oh, they're giving you all the accolades. Thank you, brother, for doing that. And now it is